Hey everyone, have you ever heard of a company spending billions on an acquisition only to realize later it was a terrible idea? Well, today we're diving into some of the biggest billion-dollar acquisitions that turned out to be complete disasters. These stories will make you wonder how some of the smartest business minds missed the mark so badly. Let's get started with these 5 shocking deals. Back in 2013, Microsoft decided to buy Nokia's phone business for $7.2 billion. At the time, it seemed like a bold move. Nokia was still a recognizable name in mobile phones, and Microsoft wanted a stronger foothold in the smartphone market with its Windows Phone platform. The thinking was that by combining Microsoft's software and Nokia's hardware, they could finally take on giants like Apple and Samsung. Sounds good, right? But here's what they didn't count on. The smartphone market had already moved past them. Consumers loved iPhones and Android devices, and Nokia's Windows phones didn't offer the apps or the user experience people wanted. Despite Microsoft pouring billions into the project, it failed to gain traction. Just 2 years later, Microsoft wrote off most of the value of the deal and laid off thousands of employees. By 2016, Nokia's phone division was history. This one's a classic case of dot-com hubris. In 2000, AOL, which was riding high on the internet boom, merged with Time Warner in a deal worth an eye-watering $165 billion. The idea was to combine AOL's internet expertise with Time Warner's traditional media empire, creating a powerhouse that could dominate both old and new media. But there were massive problems from the start. The cultures of the two companies clashed horribly. AOL was fast and aggressive, while Time Warner was more traditional and slow-moving. And then the dot-com bubble burst, wiping out a huge chunk of AOL's value. Time Warner's management never really trusted AOL, and vice versa. The merger turned into a chaotic mess, with massive write-downs and a sharp drop in the combined company's stock price. Eventually, AOL was spun off, and the two companies went their separate ways. To this day, it's considered one of the worst corporate deals ever made. In 2005, eBay decided to buy Skype for $2.6 billion. The logic? eBay thought Skype's voice and video calling technology could help connect buyers and sellers on its platform. Sounds innovative, right? But there was a big problem. Most buyers and sellers on eBay didn't need voice or video chats to do business. eBay's core model was about quick listings, bidding, and buying. Adding Skype didn't really enhance that experience. Instead of creating value, it created confusion. eBay eventually sold a large chunk of Skype for much less than they paid, admitting the acquisition didn't make sense. Ironically, Skype later became a massive success after being acquired by Microsoft in 2011. But for eBay, it was just a costly detour. Google's acquisition of Motorola Mobility in 2012 for $12.5 billion was all about patents. At the time, Google wanted to protect its Android ecosystem from patent lawsuits, especially from Apple. By acquiring Motorola, Google gained access to thousands of patents. But here's the catch. Google also inherited Motorola's struggling phone business, which was bleeding money. While Google tried to integrate Motorola and make it a competitive phone brand, it didn't work out. Motorola's phones weren't able to stand out in a crowded market, dominated by Samsung and Apple. By 2014, Google had enough and sold Motorola's hardware division to Lenovo for under $3 billion. Sure, Google kept some valuable patents, but when you subtract the losses, the deal was far from a win. It's a perfect example of how even the most strategic acquisitions can backfire if the execution isn't right. In 2011, Hewlett-Packard, HP, made a huge bet on British software company Autonomy, paying $11 billion. The plan was to shift HP's focus from hardware, where profits were thinning, to high-margin software and services. But within a year, HP claimed Autonomy had used questionable accounting practices to inflate its value. HP ended up writing off $8.8 billion of the acquisition's value. The scandal turned into a legal nightmare, with both sides accusing each other of wrongdoing. HP's stock tanked, and its reputation took a major hit. What was supposed to be a smart pivot into the software world became one of the most embarrassing and expensive tech acquisitions ever. Some of these deals looked brilliant on paper, but when the real world stepped in, with shifting markets, cultural clashes, and bad timing, they fell apart. It's a good reminder that even billions of dollars can't guarantee success. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, and turn on the notification bell for more fun stories about the business world. And hey, do you know of any other big acquisitions that turned into disasters? Drop them in the comments. I'd love to hear what you think.